Hello, everyone. My name is Elijah Jones, and I am working with the Great Lakes Mental Health Technology Transfer Center to do these interviews. Today, I'm joined by Robin Alaman, a social worker in Ohio, and she's just going to answer a few questions for us today. Robin, thank you so much for being here. My first question is, what do you do, and kind of what's the objective of the role you play?
Actually, I have a few roles that I play right now. My main role that I play is I am a mental health first aid instructor. So I work for Mental Health First Aid USA as an independent instructor. So I teach a mental health first aid adult, youth, and sometimes teen programs. So we go teach anybody who's interested in learning more about mental health. And I also am in the state of Ohio. I have completed my training to be a family peer support specialist. I have not taken my certification yet, but that's what I want to do in Ohio is help families work through court systems.
With the different things you do, how do you spend your work day, or what's a typical work day look like for you?
I don't have a set Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, clearly. I am an independent instructor, so I hire throughout the nation. Since I teach a lot of virtual, I can work. I teach a lot in Florida, in Texas. I make my own schedule, which is great because I used to do that 24-hour a day through, I ran a shelter for kids in foster care. So I had CPS calling me all the time and all these different things. And now I've gotten to the point where I can make my own schedule. But I will, if I'm teaching a class, sometimes I may teach a 4-hour class in the morning or a 4-hour and then a 4-hour class in the evening. Some days I may not teach at all. It depends because I'm also a full-time caregiver for my parent who lives with Alzheimer's. So if she has a doctor's appointment, it allows me to be flexible in what I do.
Oh, great. That's awesome. So it sounds like, as people might be considering roles in social work or the behavioral health field, that there are opportunities for flexibilities when you
Yes,
become a full-time
definitely.
caregiver. Great. So what kind of education preparation or pathway did you take to um, enter all these different things you do?
Well, I got my bachelor's in social work at the University of Houston Clear Lake. And while I was there, I worked with a lot of first-time students. I worked with non-traditional students, international students. I loved what I did. So I decided I wanted to come back and teach in college. And my fastest way to do that was to go to the University of Houston and get my master's degree in 1 year. And then I learned while I was there, I really liked a lot of different things in social work because it's so vast. And so I worked in Galveston with a lot of people in the community who were undocumented. I worked with kids, helping them advocate for them to get to schools. I ran the shelter for kids in foster care. I ran a school. I did so many things and decided I really liked that too. So I did that for a little while. Then I left there and I went and worked in a nursing home and got my master's degree in that process. And then I found a job really close to home so I could help take care of my family. And that job was being a mental health first aid coordinator. And with social work, I felt like I loved all these things, but this kind of combined all those jobs I had had into one, where I got to save a lot of lives and give people the tools to save lives. So that really put all of my stuff into one. And it was a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 job. So that worked perfect for me. And then I left there to be my own independent, where I could be even more flexible with my time.
Oh, awesome. So it sounds like you got your bachelor's in social work and then you were able to get your master's in a year.
I did a fast track advanced program at University of Houston.
Okay, great. Um, well, that's really good to know. Thank you. And then what would you say are some of the unique perks of this job?
Well, the unique perks one would be, that I have a flexible schedule. I can be at home. I don't have to go anywhere. But also, I love one that I get to save lives. Clearly, is my passion. And two, I get to meet people everywhere across the nation. I'm a people person. And this way I can meet people and still be at home, but also hearing the stories of people, even in my class, how big difference. Like I have people start my class like, I don't need this. I don't need to know what you're telling me. And by the end of class, they're like, wow, I didn't know I needed to learn this information. I'm going to go call my friend, or you just helped me with the tools to save my family's life or even to save my own life. I realized like it takes my social work skills to a whole new level, because now I can meet people where they are instead of just expecting them to come to me.
Thank you. And then what would you say what's the job prospect out, or like the job demand for this type of role?
Oh, we're always looking for instructors. But also it's the connections that I've made, because I can now, like I said, I just took the training to be a a family peer support specialist. I also opened up and I learned about the training to be a Kansas assessor. I also took other training in CBT and DBT and all these different things that I got to do for free because of the contacts that I made in this. So I'm expanding other areas. So God forbid something were to happen to my mom and I needed to go out and work full time again. I'm making contacts with people, and I'm keeping up on certifications. I just moved to Ohio a year ago, so I don't have a license or anything. So I'm working on studying and making contacts on how to get my licensing here, because in Ohio it's different from where I was in Texas, and every state's different. Those contacts, man, that networking is what we do as social workers. So I'm keeping up my networking so that if I need something or my family does, I know where to go.
Yeah, I really appreciate that you bring up that point. There's this common misnomer that you have to have a license to be able to work in behavioral health, but you've been able to find a role successfully that you can be in the field without a license and use the skills you got from your social work education.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot better if you have that piece of paper, but there's so many other things you can do without. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, I would love to have it. I struggled in Texas. I took my test 3 times and failed by 5 points each time. But I
Mhm.
also went to school as a macro social worker. I didn't go as a clinical. So it's going to be rough for me. But the things I've been able to do in the process have been so meaningful. I learned that I don't want to be a therapist. I don't want to do that one-on-one. That's why I like being out in the community and doing other things and changing lives without sitting in a room and talking to someone. So yes, there's so many things you can do as a social worker without sitting there and doing therapy.
Okay. Yeah. And then what would I know your situation's a little unique, but in this type of role, the field, the specific like roles or fields you're in, what's the range of compensation that's available?
When I teach a class, a 4-hour class, I make $300 or $500. I can go up to $1,000. If I teach the class and everything myself, I set my own rates. So that's not bad. I worked 4 days this month and I made $1,200.
Okay.
So it's a lot better than just, and like I said, I make my own schedule. When I was working in social work, I made anywhere from 42,000 to 62,000 without a license. So I mean, there's so much. You just have to look and figure out what it is you want to do.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, there's something for everybody. You just got
yeah,
to look for it.
yeah, really finding kind of your passion, and this sounds like what you were able to do is find work
Yes,
in an
this is
area
my
you're
passion.
passionate about. Yeah. Are you familiar with any like reimbursement programs or loan forgiveness or repayment programs?
I have looked into that and worked on it. I know I have a friend who worked, she actually got me the job that I did at the nursing home that I was at in Houston, and she just did her loan repayment. She did all of her 60 some payments or whatever it is, and she just got her loan forgiven. Um, and of course, with me being in doing what I'm doing, yes, I do qualify for that. So, because you're working for a nonprofit. So as long as I'm working for the nonprofit and I can show that I've either been in um, what do they call forbearance, or that I'm making my payments, I still qualify just like everybody else does for the loan forgiveness programs. I just had to check with my loan company, and because I had to take those student loans out, but it wasn't till grad school, because grad school is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can't really work either when you're going doing fast track and you're taking 18 hours of grad school a semester. You're like, no.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The that fast track program is pretty intense.
It's intense.
Right. You're right. So we really appreciate you answering all these questions today. Is there anything else you'd like to say about your role in behavioral health or and social work?
I would just really say that, don't like people may think that mental health is some, oh no, it's a scary role or it's a scary area to be in, and it's really not. It's just like you said, finding your niche and figuring out what you want to do. Find your passion because it's there. And in social work, so many of us have what we call social work ADHD. Like we love everything, but that doesn't mean that's where your passion is. Keep going until you find your passion.
Really great advice. Thank you, Robin. We really appreciate it.
No problem.